So I did intentionally mow this as short as I possibly could, but I wasn't trying to scalp all over the place. About the time I was finishing up, I realized I'd never put the anti-scalp wheels down, and that was part of the problem. But also, it's just really bumpy ground, and I'm trying to mow it as low as I can. So I just cleaned this area up because I'm about to start a really big project right here, and I wanted the grass as short as possible before I start, because this project is going to take weeks, if not months, to finish. And I'm not going to tell you yet what it is. I want to see if you guys want to guess a little bit, but this is something I've been wanting to do for a long time. And as I got closer and closer to being set up, and I got this pallet contains everything I need to do the project. Well, not everything, which is what today's video is about. But as I got closer to actually starting, I started to get nervous thinking about the sheer amount of manual labor that's going to go into doing this. And so I'm a little bit intimidated by it. Plus, I've never done anything like this before, so it's going to be a big learning curve. But what I'm going to do right now is just set this pallet over here and then spend the rest of the day harvesting rocks, because we need tons and tons of rocks. A lot of people, when they do this, they will buy a truckload or 2 semi-truckloads of rocks to work with. And I don't want to spend any money on it. So, well, I'm going to spend some, but I don't want to spend any more than I have to. So I'm going to spend all day today, and maybe a lot of days, harvesting rocks off the hillside. I'm thinking the skid loader is going to be the best way to harvest those rocks, but it's actually at the Deere dealership getting some routine service done. And so we're going to see what we can get done with the tractor. Should be a lot of fun. Well, I just got 2 rocks off here, maybe 3 if you count the little one, and I can already see I've got a problem. So this area back here is where I want to harvest rocks. Massive, big rocks all over the place up here. But that tractor is not the perfect tool for coming to get them. And it can only carry so many. So there are 2 ways to get up here. The first is the way you just saw me come. And that is a winding path up here. It's kind of long and slow and bumpy, and the problem is you'll see these rocks jutting up everywhere. Like right here. That rock's sticking up out of the ground about 1 foot. And those want to bottom out my tractor. I bottomed out twice, where I'm hitting the axle or the mower components on something. And then when the tires go over those spots, it feels like you're gonna flip, even though I haven't. It feels like it, which means you better be going slow. And then you got all these brambles all over the place that have thorns on them, trying to put a hole in my tires. And then I've got one other way to get up here. My other path to get up here is right there, and it looks pretty good, right? From here, it's like a nice little grassy meadow. It's not at all, it's the same. It might be worse. I've come up that path with the tractor twice. I've only been up here about 4 or 5 times since I've owned the property. I've only been up here with the tractor a few times. And it's not a smooth ride. That's why I came the other way. So, I think long term what I'm gonna have to do is try to use the skid loader to make a smooth path up here. And even though the skid loader drives a lot slower, it can carry more rocks at a time. So maybe I'll try making a path with the skid loader, and if I can do that, then we'll see what the best way to get rocks in and out of here is. For right now, I'm gonna try to find some rocks that are more easily accessible. And if you guys have been around a long time, you know I had a huge pile of rocks, like 30-foot diameter circle of rocks, 4 or 5 foot tall. And I thought I'm never gonna use all these rocks, and I took them down to the back corner and I buried them. Now I wish I had them back. Oh well, that's how it goes, I guess. So let me see if I can find some rock piles that I can get to a little bit quicker and a little bit easier with the tractor. All right, I'm out walking the property looking for rock piles. And I've got one right here. Some of you might remember, we took all the landscaping from around the house, cleared it all out, leveled it, put down grass seed because I didn't want to maintain all that landscaping. Well now, I was actually too lazy to take the rock all the way down where I was putting the rest. I way underestimated how big that rock pile is. There's a lot of rock here. Question is, how good's the tractor gonna do at harvesting it? I've got my Artillian grapple. It has a wider opening, allows material to stick out the end. It's got slots to let dirt through. It's good in some ways, but it lacks a little bit on clamping force for something like these heavy rocks. And then I've got my precision manufacturing grapple that we can try. So let's see what kind of result we get here. So I love the design of this grapple, and overall I think it's pretty awesome. But some people have pointed out it doesn't look like it has enough clamping force out on the tips. And that is a little bit of an issue with it. So this is a really good test because these rocks are heavy and I've got to squeeze down on them from the tips. I've also had people who own a 2038R like I have tell me that they've never ran out of power and it just spins the tires when you start to push into something. And that's not my experience. What I get is a high-pitched whine and it doesn't go anymore. And I think partially that's because I have a lot of traction because I've put a lot of extra weight on my tractor. Another possibility is that those people are just full of it or haven't really pushed their tractor very hard. Doesn't look like much, but I've got a few hours of work in here and I've got a pile of rocks. It's not nearly what I'm going to need for this project, but it's a start. And the only way to get something done is to start on it. And I think the skid loader is going to be more efficient at this job. But I'm going to try it and then we'll know. So anyway, I appreciate you taking time to watch this video. If you have a guess what I'm doing over here, put it in the comments. I'm going to put links on the screen to a couple more of our videos, and I'll see you next time.